Ah, football. It's a funny old game. 20 teams play across a season, and in the end, every football YouTuber gets all of their positions wrong.
For all the people that said, I don't have ball knowledge, listen to this.
No, don't do it. Don't do it. The best predictor in the scene is going out the window because I'm predicting Chelsea to finish 9th.
Why?
It's that time of the night, ladies and gentlemen. We are predicting the 25-26 Premier League campaign. From top to bottom, every single position, every single goal scorer. We're not doing that. I'm not gonna. Let's aim for 6,000 likes on this video. I'd massively appreciate it. For 800,000 subscribers at the moment, I'm gonna be getting a Liverpool tattoo. So make sure to hit that button under the video to make that happen. And of course, there'll be plenty of footballing content coming over this new season. I'm so excited to bring it to you. We got bangers in the chamber already. No, I thought long and hard about the bottom. Pause. Nah. I thought long and hard about who I would place at the bottom of the Premier League table. This is no simple task, okay? And I know that I'm going to cause a lot of offence. It was difficult for me to have to do this to this football club. Yeah, nah, fuck all that noise. Burnley are finishing 20th.
Why am I involved? Oh my God.
Once again, this is going to be a difficult season for the newly promoted sides. It's been well documented, really, how big the gap is now between the Championship and the Premier League. You do have to, you know, buy very, very well. You have to spend a lot of money to even have a chance these days of kicking it with the rest of the Premier League, and for me, Burnley just haven't done enough. Also, kind of combined with their style of play, I have always said this: if you want to stay up in this league, you've got to have goal scorers. Now, in fairness, defensively, they're absolutely mental. They just got 100 points. They're Centurions, for fuck's sake, in the Championship, and I'm saying they're going to go straight back down bottom. They conceded only 16 goals across a 46-game season. That is absolutely bonkers. That's one of the biggest achievements that the second division's probably ever seen, but I'm just not totally sure where goals are truly going to come from in this side, as like from a consistent basis. Like, no one's scoring above 10 in this team for me. They signed a load of Chelsea youngsters in the form of Leslie Ugachukwu, Bashir Humphries, who was on loan with them last season and was part of that incredible defense, and also Armando Broja. But I don't see Armando Broja getting the goals they need to, even though he's a decent striker. That ACL injury feels like it's ruined him a little bit and his confidence. They've signed some decent young players. Again, kind of similar to when they were last in the Prem. They signed some good young people they can sell on for a little bit of profit, and also a guy called Quilinci Hartman. That's not a real name. I'm so sorry. I want him to stay up because that's amazing. But yeah, just for me, they don't have enough to stay up. I'm sure most Burnley fans would agree based on current activity in the transfer market. And just a disclaimer, big on the screen disclaimer. This is getting filmed late on the, sorry to my neighbours. This is getting filmed on the 12th of August, okay? So any transfers that happen after that, I can't predict the future. As of right now, this squad is not good enough to survive. And it's a similar story for the team that I'm predicting in 19th, and that is Leeds United. I love Leeds. I think they're a great football club. I grew up watching them and them having a really exciting club. Well, actually, that's a lie. I grew up right at the end of them actually having a good squad, and then I saw them get relegated and almost go out of business. But they feel like a Premier League club. If you were to note down an ideal list of 20 teams that should be in the top flight of English football, Leeds United should be one of them. But if you were to note down a set of 11 players that would stay in the Prem, not a single one of them. No, there's probably a few, but they're kind of the opposite to Burnley. They finished, of course, on the same points total in the Championship last season. Centurions as well. Crazy Burnley got 100 points and didn't win the league. But Leeds, very different. Scored a lot of goals, conceded a lot more, but do seem to have goals. They've lost Mana Solomon, who was so good for them last season. They've got the likes of Dan James, Ao Tanaka, Willie Nonto's back in the Premier League as well. They've got a new goalkeeper after the disaster that was Ilian Melier last season. But even with the signing of Lucas Perry, who's in from Lyon, they just haven't done enough outside of that. They brought in a new DM and a new centre-back, both of which I've never heard of. I'm so sorry. My outer knowledge of Hoffenheim and Udinese unfortunately doesn't stretch that far, but Sean Longstaff's also in from Newcastle. I don't know. Again, more just needs to be done, I feel, and I'm sure they will sign more players before the end of the transfer window. But this is where things get interesting. We're going for 18th place, and lads, I'm being controversial here. I know it would be very easy to say all the relegated teams going straight back down, and that's exactly what I'm doing. No, I'm joking. Wolverhampton Wanderers are the team that I have gone for in 18th place. And I think this might be a little bit controversial, but genuinely, just bear with me, lads. Wolves, of course, finished 16th in the league last season. I'm sure they're expecting a little bit more.
Easy top 3. If I'm not 16th!
And they finished on 42 points, easily clear of relegation in the end, in and amongst West Ham, Spurs, Manchester United. But the first half of the season, they were absolutely diabolical and easily could have ended up going down. We're basically in that relegation scrap with Ipswich up towards the top of the relegation zone. Based on the last 10 matches of last season, they'd have finished the league 6th place. So they're in decent form, but they've lost 2 of their best players and they haven't replaced them. Mateus Cunha, of course, has gone to Manchester United for about 60 mil. Ryan Ait-Nouri has gone to Manchester City, and I don't think they've replaced either of them. John Arias is basically basically the only main signing who's coming from Fluminense. He's a versatile forward, but his goal-scoring record isn't that great. Strand Larsen has come in permanently now. I think he was really underrated last season. Future Barclaysman if Wolves are ever on television. And it was nice to see the likes of Totti Gomez, Andre, and Bellegarde get a lot better when the new manager came in, but Wolves can't keep doing this. They can't keep selling their best players and then kind of replace them with players you've never heard of but do an okay job but aren't as good as the last guy. Which means I believe Sunderland are going to stay up, and I'm putting them in 17th position. Sunderland have spent the second most of any club of the major leagues in Europe in the world. Yeah, Europe. Yeah, that makes no sense. Well, actually, no, Europe are in the world, in fairness, so I'm not. Some class signings here too. Major experience in the form of Granit Xhaka. People are talking about that a lot. I feel like it can't be understated. Experience and winning experience is so key. 2 years ago, he was winning the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen and almost completed an invincible treble. Yeah, I'm sure he's not quite the same Granit Xhaka as he was. I know his hairline isn't, but this is still someone who's won and got experience of winning in very recent history, and he's definitely the best midfielder that Sunderland have, pound for pound. Adingra is a baller. Couldn't really get into Brighton's squad because of how many wingers they've got. Enzo Lefebvre, classy midfielder. Habib Diarra is a starlet from Strasbourg. The only thing I think that's going to be pretty peak for them is they've lost 2 of their best young players from the championship season. That's Tom Watson and Joe Bellingham. If they keep Joe Bellingham, I think it's almost guaranteed at the moment that they stay up. That's the one question mark for me. I'm hoping Sunderland will stay up and won't expose my poor ball knowledge. And today I'm testing my ball knowledge thanks to the lovely people over at So Rare. Now, if you don't know what So Rare is, it is a fantasy football based game where you can build a team of 5. Those players will earn points based on what they do in real life. And if you top leagues, you can win incredible prizes like flat out cash, tickets to games, or even the opportunity to play with some iconic footballers. Zinedine Zidane, I'm gonna show you that if I didn't have my knee injury. Plenty of other stuff that you can do as well. But today we're building a team. Now, as you can see, we've got Box Enterprises Corporation Limited. Don't think the box is gonna be in this team. So instead, we're heading on to the market. Listen, I need ballers. And we've got some elite footballers here. And also Lucas Torreira. I'd choose Johan Wisser at that price, but I think he'd rather drag his head across a cheese grater than play for Brentford right now. The guy's bald, so I don't recommend that. Don't do that at home, regardless, actually. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna cop some players, right? We're looking for players whose values could go up. For me, Omar Marmoush, I think he's gonna have a 6th season. Hit the ground running at Man City, I'm gonna make a bid for him. At defense now, I think an easy option's Mickey van der Ven, man, especially for that price. He's got an easy start to the season. Solid centre-back. I'm not gonna lie, I'm taking a punt on the next one. Bournemouth, Eli Junior Krupi was sick in Liga. 19-year-old potential wonder kid, I'm going in for him as my extra player. And then the next one, there's absolutely no rhyme or reason other than I just absolutely love the player. I am a believer. We're getting Carlos in. Plus a big money move maybe on the horizon for him. Which leaves us needing a goalkeeper. And that's where you come in. Drop your suggestions for a goalkeeper that I should sign for this team. Either way, make sure to check out So Rare in the description. I've even got an incredible €150 welcome offer that is exclusive for people that sign up using my affiliate link down in the description. So make sure to check it out. Now, on to 16th place. I think we're going with a side that universally everyone thinks is going to struggle right now. And that's West Ham United, who actually, did they finish 14th last season? Yeah, 14th last campaign on 43 points. There's only one more point, though, than Wolves, who I am predicting to go down. And for me, West Ham have had a similarly poor transfer window. I think the only thing for them is they've not lost more than one key man. And I say that because Mohamed Kudus has obviously gone to Tottenham, which is absolutely crazy. Like, selling one of your best players to a big rival like that is nuts. But they have kept hold of Lucas Paqueta, not only from other football clubs, but from the general courts of the land. Yet this guy has avoided being banned for life for his betting habits and tendencies, which means he's free to bet again this season. And if I'm you, Lucas Paqueta, stick 10k on you getting relegated, bro, because it could happen. West Ham have got a decent enough squad. It's good enough to survive the likes of Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Alvarez, as I mentioned there, Paqueta, and also Crescencio Somerville, who I love. We could get a bit of resurgence of Nicholas Fulkrug now that he's actually fit. Definitely a born leader up the top of the pitch, but their signings have been poor. Tadebo's in permanently now. I don't mind him as a centre-back. Juve looks pretty good at left-back, but that's it. That is the extent of what they've done. In 15th place, I've gone with a side who a lot of people are suggesting might get relegated, and this is Brentford. And don't worry, lads, I share your sentiments. This is not going to be as good a season for Brentford as it has been. Let's go through the obvious things. They've lost their manager, they've lost their captain, they've lost both of their top scorers from last season, or they're probably going to in the form of Wisser, and they've also lost their goalkeeper. So to be honest with you, with Mark Flecken's performances most of the time, that's a net positive. That man had the most fraudulent goalkeeping stats of all time. The amount of clangers he had in his his locker was crazy. So him being replaced by Quaveen Kelleher is definitely a positive. Kelleher is such an underrated goalkeeper. Brentford fans, take it from me, if I'm lying, I'm flying. He was the best backup goalkeeper in world football. I absolutely adore Kelleher. He helped us the silverware single-handedly when Alisson was being focused on the league. He's a steady, surefire goalkeeper that's good enough to really play for a side that's, I think, finishing 8th or 9th in the Prem. So for Brentford to get him for a small fee to replace Flecken is an upgrade, in my opinion. They've also crucially kept Mikkel Damsgaard, who I think was their best player last season, and also Jordan Henderson provides experience. He's not the same Jordan Henderson as like 4 years ago, but experience is still helpful. I think the craziest thing for them, actually, which is mental to say given the strikers they're going to lose, is actually the managerial situation. Thomas Frank has taken them from mid-table championship all the way to being secure and stabilised in the Prem. He's done an amazing job with Brentford, and they've got a guy coming in Keith Andrews who knows how to score from corners, and that's about it. Bro, a set-piece coach becoming manager is utter woke nonsense. He's inexperienced and untested at a level like this, so that's one thing that could really, really harm them more than the players they've lost, in my opinion. Now let's rip through the mid-table a little bit quicker. Next up in 14th place, we've gone for Fulham. This is a side I always perennially get wrong because I underestimate how good they're going to be, and I'm probably going to end up doing it again. They've done nothing in a transfer window. There's really nothing to report here. They've still got decent players. I like Iwobi, I like Emil Smith-Rowe, I like Calvin Bassey. I like the vibes they've got going on there. I'm always worried when it comes to Fulham, though, about their goal scoring. Raul Jimenez is 33. He only scored 12 goals last season. I just wonder how long they can rely on a 33-year-old Donny to score like more than 9 goals in a season. And I think if they don't sign a striker this window, it might catch up with them. In 13th place, as of right now, I've gone with Bournemouth. That's obviously a 4-place drop on a Bournemouth side that were heavily, heavily impressive last season. The obvious answer here is that their defense has been completely massacred. And as of right now, they haven't really replaced those players because we are still a month away from the transfer window ending. Look, they've lost Kepa in goal, Milos Kerkez, who was one of the best left-backs in the league last season. They've lost Dean Huijsen and also Zabarnyi, who were two of the biggest sparks in terms of centre-backs or kind of new faces for centre-backs in the Prem. They're gonna struggle. Like, they're not gonna find upgrades on those guys, even when they do replace them. But at the moment, their centre-backs are Senesi and Mepham. No disrespect, that's nowhere near as good. I do like their squad overall, and that junior Eli Krupi guy, who scored 22 goals in League 2 last season, watch out for him. He could be a major source of goals for them. In 12th place, I've gone with the Toffees.
Up the Toffees.
I really like Everton's transfer business. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's still question marks in terms of depth for me, especially at centre mid, I think. But a front three of Iliman Ndiaye, Jack Grealish, who's just, of course, come in on loan from Manchester City like the day I'm recording this, and also Thierry Barry, who impressed for Villarreal as a youngster last season, French under-21 international. Bro, that's exciting. That's about as exciting as an Everton front three's been for a long time, bro. We're going back to like the Barkley, like Lukaku days. I'm not saying it's as good, but they've been dealing with Dwight McNeil and Dominic Calvert-Lewin and them, man. Also, a player with the surname Barry signing for Everton just makes sense, doesn't it? Their fans will be attempting to keep up with his Guinean heritage in the stands. Keenan Dewsbury Hall is in as well. He was always sick for Leicester. He just never was used for Chelsea. Hopefully he hasn't fallen off a cliff in terms of performance in that time. I don't think it should be a next Danny Drinkwater situation. 11th position, Crystal Palace. This is about as calm as you can get. Crystal Palace will always finish either 11th or 12th. It's absolutely fine. I am more than safe predicting this. I'm willing to go out on a limb and say that I will be at max 1 position out here. Newly crowned Community Shield charity dinner tray winners, Crystal Palace. Fair play to them, man. What a season last season. FA Cup victory, absolutely historic. I'm so happy for their supporters. I do feel like the knock-on effect of that, though, may have a little bit of an impact on their squad this season. And that is, of course, the fact they're going to be in Europe for this campaign. In the Conference League, though not the Europa League. I don't actually know if the Conference League still plays 6 group stage matches this season. If it's only 6 and not 8, that might work in their benefit, because I don't think they have the depth to be able to deal with Europe and the Premier League and doing well in the Prem. Don't get twisted. Love their squad. Love Eze. Love Mateta. If they keep Eze, that'll be huge. But of course, Eze is being linked with a move away, and so is Mark Gahey now, literally today, to Liverpool. If they lose Eze and Gahey, I'm taking 2 positions off them. I'm not going to lie to you. Those are 2 big players to lose. But as of right now, Gahey and Lacroix is a sick centre-back partnership. I do like Adam Wharton. I think he's a little bit inconsistent in comparison to what people say, but I do like him. He's got a bright future. Yeah, I'm going to... Yeah, 12th. No, sorry, 11th. Even I don't know which one I'm putting him in. 10th place is a bit of a drop-off here, and their fans may not like me for this one, but it's for similar reasons to what I just gave for Palace. Nottingham Forest. Okay, look, listen. Yeah, there were lots of trees over there. Some of the trees coming down this season. Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you. I just don't see Chris Wood performing those miraculous miracles of last season. And again, European football is going to harm them, but this feels like the most obvious drop-off of all time. Given how last season ended, they they could have very easily finished third in the league, fell off a cliff in like the last 10 games of the season, ended up finishing in 7th. It just screams that form continues into this season too. And I'm not saying to the degree where they're going to fall off completely. 10th place for Forest is still calm, especially really with how things are going. I mean, the transfer window has not been that bad. Do not get it twisted. They have lost Anthony Elanga. They've replaced him with Dan Ndoye from Bologna, but he's never really been that potent when it comes to goal scoring in his career. So I do worry a little bit there. But other than that, they've kept the majority of their impressive players, like their centre-back partnership, Mario and Milinkovic. Morgan Gibbs-White is massive. Him signing a new contract after having all of his cousins held hostage by Mr. Marinakis is definitely a positive, unless you're his cousins, in which case it's not ideal. And on top of the players they've also kept Ola Aina, Callum Hudson-Odoi, and Elliot Anderson, who I think is one of the most underrated centre mids in the league. So it's a good squad, don't get it twisted, but I just think momentum-wise, they might struggle to get themselves going a little bit at the start of this season. 9th place next, and I have gone with both Brighton and also Hove Albion. I love Brighton, man. As a place, but also their squad. I know I say it all the time. Their recruitment's just so cold, man. They lose a player, they just replace them easily. The only thing they haven't done, I would say, is replace Joao Pedro in terms of his goals. I think that's the one area where Brighton could be a little bit light this season, because their depth, bro, it's actually insane. They could run a front four of like, what, Yankuba Minte, Mitoma, O'Reilly, and then like Rutter up front. Or the next game, they could then bust out Tom Watson that they bought from Sunderland, and Ciso, who's back on loan from Ipswich, Brian Gruder, and Danny Welbeck, who were all sick last season. And Ciso was called for Ipswich. Gruder, who came in and looked really, really good as well. I think a season bedding in, he'll look good next season. Welbeck always scores no matter what he does. And Tom Watson, again, big standout for Sunderland in the Championship last season. The depth they've got is nuts, and at centre-back, their depth is nuts as well. They just brought in Boscagli for a free from PSV, who's a Dutch league winner, on top of the centre-backs they already had, and also an Italian international in the form of Coppola, who's coming from Hellas Verona for like 10 mil. These are great signings. They've replaced Pervis Estupiñán with De Kuyper from Belgium. Estupiñán's gone AC Milan. They just go about their business so well. I wholeheartedly believe they will do a good job. They signed that Greek wonder kid for like 35 mil. That's a bit of a risk. He's supposed to be sick. Won the UEFA Youth League with Olympiacos. So we'll see whether he ends up being class. Either way, for me, Brighton 9th. In 8th place, though, a big rise. And maybe not as big as other people are going to predict. Manchester United are the side that I have gone with in P8. Now, let's not get twisted. Manchester United has spent a lot of money. Benjamin Sesko, in. Matheus Cunha, in. Brian Mbeumo, in. Most of the dinner ladies, out. Yeah, look, listen, Luke Shaw might be frustrated at the fact that Mbeumo's first name isn't Kinder, but generally speaking, the amount that he's going to be able to bring to the table alongside Cunha and Sesko, it should be more goals for United. It really, really should be. If it's not, problems. Ruben Amorim is under pressure. He's got 4 months to make this work. This tactical ideology that he's got. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm concerned that he's not going to. Is Sesko really the man to rely on in terms of goals? His Bundesliga record is good. Is it £85 million worth? Dunno. Will he be arguing with United fans on Instagram by November? Mbeumo probably grew hair in the time that it took for Manchester United to sign him. He's got to style that now. He ain't styled his hair in like 5 years, so he's going to get distracted by that possibility. All in all, I'm not even going to chat shit. I actually like Manchester United's transfer business. They're also after Carlos Baleba. Spoiler alert, if they sign Baleba from Brighton, I will boost them up 2 positions, because Baleba's unbelievable. What a defensive midfielder. If they get him, that might revolutionise their midfield, which for me is still a massive issue for all them, and also in goal. If they don't sign a goalkeeper, they're still fucked. I'm not going to lie to you. 7th position, on the flip side, a team that is having possibly the worst transfer window of all time. We got Newcastle United. Honestly, I could have gone lower with these guys. I'm not going to lie. If it wasn't for Manchester United not quite fixing all of their issues, and maybe the likes of Bournemouth and Brentford not actually kicking on and regressing instead, these lot could have been dropping down to somewhere like 9th. I like Newcastle's squad. I do. And maybe I'm being a bit harsh in saying that. But Bruno Guimaraes and Sandro Tonali, Anthony Gordon, these are fucking sick footballers. All right, let's not get it twisted. Defensively, they're great. Botman, Hall, Livramento, Trippier, there's options there, right? Trippier probably shouldn't have got a mention there, actually. He's getting on a bit. But they have 0 strikers that actually want to play football for them. Alexander Isak, at this point, you have to either imagine won't be at the club because he's moved somewhere else, or isn't going to play for the club. And if that's the case, as of right now, bam, where are the goals coming from? William Azula is a child, okay? You can't rely on him. Ramsdale's relegation record is pulling you further down the table as well. They didn't end last season that great either. And to be honest, I think they also need depth at centre mid, because beyond Tonali and Guimaraes, I think there should be a little bit of concern there, especially if Joe Willock ends up leaving, like I think he's going to. They've missed out on every single transfer target they could have possibly ever signed. If they offered Maradona a contract there, he turned them down via Ouija board. It's a shit show over there, and for me, 7th and getting like Europa League football would be a decent effort right now. A shit show. And I'm not just talking about those true Geordie texts. We'll see if that makes the cut. In 6th position, we have got one of the big underachievers of last season. It is Tottenham Hotspur. This is a real rogue one for me. Sometimes you gotta just throw caution to the wind and just chuck something in there. Doesn't really make biological or logistical sense. I mean, for example, who'd have thought Tottenham and Manchester United would be 17th and 15th in the league last season? It's not predictable, right? Sometimes you gotta do the odd thing that doesn't make sense. Now, the Spurs' transfer window suggests that they command finishing in 6th after accumulating about 21.5 points last season. No. With a new manager in the form of Thomas Frank, who I really do rate, even if he has the actual footballing ability himself of a size 11.5 Timberland boot, he is a good manager, and he's brought a lot of his coaching staff and data analysts and stuff with him, I believe. They have brought in Mohamed Kudus, which I don't mind as a signing, but he can be a bit frustrating in my opinion. Palinha's in, Matthijs Tel is in, Heung-min Son obviously leaves, and that's a big character gone as well in the dressing room. But Heung-min Son was not the same Son, let's be real. The season just gone. In fact, he's Heung-min gone now. But, I mean, the big elephant in the room is Niran. They finished 17th in the league. How can you predict them to finish 6th next season? I just honestly wholeheartedly believe this squad is good enough to do that. Let's be honest, yeah, second half of the season, they just fell apart mentally. The first half of the season, they were only even in that mess because of the crazy injury crisis they had. You can only imagine, despite James Maddison's ACL injury, that's not going to be the case again this season due to the less, slightly less intense football they're going to be playing now they're not with Ange Postecoglou. So I feel like with, a fit back four of Van der Veen, Romero, Spence, and Udogie, that's a really decent, although at some points erratic, defense. They've got midfield depth for days. They've got, a decent strike force. But I do think Dominic Solanke really needs to step up this season. In 5th place, I'm just going to let you into a trade secret here. When I was writing these down, I wrote 6th place Spurs and 5th place Tottenham. So congratulations to Tottenham. You're finishing 5th place as well. No, clearly what I meant to do was put Aston Villa. I don't know why I wrote that down. But Aston Villa under Unai Emery are who I am predicting in P5. I've seen a lot of people predicting that Aston Villa are going to have this severe drop-off, or like at least a little bit of a drop-off. I can only see one reason why they would, but I'll come to that in a second. Now, they were 6th last season on 66 points, in and amongst, of course, the likes of Newcastle, the likes of Brighton and Brentford, all of which who are seemingly separated by about 4 points. Not Brentford, sorry, I meant Forest. Their Champions League run last season was crazy. They gave the likes of PSG a real run for their money, a PSG side that smoked Inter in the final of the whole competition, and their second half of last season was just as impressive in the league. They accumulated just 1 point less than Liverpool in the final half of fixtures in the league. That is a crazy run from Unai Emery's men. They got a class squad with real defensive depth, midfield depth as well. I love the likes of Ezri Konsa, Morgan Rogers. Emi Martinez looks like he might be staying after all. I've not seen any news about him for like 3 or 4 weeks. They need to keep hold of Ollie Watkins because I've seen, links to Newcastle, but Donyell Marlin's been good in pre-season. And they've also signed Evan Guesson from OGC Nice, who, whilst it was only 1 season, had a really good season. Looked really good in Ligue 1 last campaign. Him and Morgan Rogers as a combination is crazy, and if he keeps up his French form, he's a baller. The one issue is they don't have Asensio or Marcus Rashford anymore. I do feel like Rashford, and of course Asensio especially, given Rashford got injured, really turned Aston Villa's form around, or helped to do so. Not having either of them might make them a little bit less potent going forward. I don't know. Now though, the big hitters. Okay, we're into the top 4. Aston Villa, Champions League football. Joining them in 4th position, we've got the Blues. I'm going for Chelsea. Now Chelsea, of course, finished 4th last season. It was a bit of a free-for-all, I'm not gonna lie, from like 3rd down to 8th, wasn't it? Chelsea in the end managed to secure 69 points in total. They also put together a good end to the season, 4 wins out of their last 5. And whilst it has been yet again more ADHD ball in the negotiation room from Todd Bowley, it's a good set of signings, I'm not gonna lie. Joao Pedro looked good in pre-season. Jarell Harto I really like. Gittins is a bit expensive, but not bad, especially given they earned that money back on selling Madueke. They do seem to make a lot of signings for the sake of it, but some of them have actually been pretty decent. Delap, of course, a great solid backup option if that's the way they choose to go. After grabbing 12 goals for Ipswich last season, I think Esteval could really break through and be absolutely sick for them too. And also, they don't have Jadon Sancho anymore. That's harsh, man. I don't need to do all of that. The main thing for them in terms of their squad, their midfield is so good. Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez are quality. Caicedo's the best DM in the league, but big thing, their goalkeeping situation, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. And also, Levi Colwill just did his ACL in training. That's massive, really massive. A left-sided centre-back. I mean, Jorel Harto can do that job. They just brought him in from Ajax. And I get the feeling, bring him in to do that, I get the feeling they might have brought him in to be... Actually, no, because Cucurella is their left wing-back. So Harto can just do that job. So it's not the end of the world, but it is still pretty peak. Again, they've got the likes of Cole Palmer, who's going to bag goals again. I think they'll be closer. And after winning the Club World Cup, I genuinely think they're going to be closer to the likes of the top 3 above them than the chasing pack. Now, though, on to the top 3. Oh, man. See, this is where things get really tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Before we jump into this, though, I want to know what your predictions are down below. I want to know who you think is going to win the league. I want to know who you think is going to finish in the Champions League spots. And I want to know who you think is going to get relegated into this season. Drop it all down below. Let me know what you think, you footballing aficionados. If you're watching this channel, you're probably not. Let's be real. And guys, look, listen. I've got to become Narin for a second here. Hold on a shing. Because I'm going to get hatred, fam. I'm going to get writing on the wall. I'm going to get protests. I'm going to get graffiti in my own living room. Because I, ladies and gentlemen, am placing Arsenal in 3rd place. Now, look, look, you can boo me all you like. All I'm going to say is, at least it's not 2nd again. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, bring some balance.
Trying to wind me up here.
No, look, I've gone for the Gunners here in 3rd, and this might seem surprising because it's hard to wait, I'll go. The thing is, right, this is going to be such a competitive league, in my opinion. Arsenal have done a good job of actually plugging almost every single hole they needed to. They brought in a left winger in Madueke, though I still think they could do better. If they sign Eze, I'll be willing to accept they actually could win the league. They brought in a new striker who scores a lot of goals in Victor Gyökeres. They've got a replacement for number 5 Chargy in the form of Zubamendi. They've even got incredible centre-back depth in the form of Mosquera. Every single signing they've made has been with a purpose and a point, and I think that's actually cold from Arsenal because they've been really bad at doing that recently. They've got 2 players for every position at the back that are genuinely really good. Like at right back, Ben White, Timber. At centre back, you've got 4 options. At left back, they've got Miles Lewis-Skelly, and they've also got Ricardo Calafiori. Midfield, balanced. I think Zubamendi's going to be cold for them. Again, the issue with them is Mikel Arteta, and that is very controversial. I realize maybe. I don't mean as in he's a bad manager. That's not what I'm saying, all right, before you start attacking me in the comments. Arteta's a good manager. He's done a great job to get them where they are, but I think the style of play and the sort of solidity that they have, whilst not necessarily being this side that's free scoring and all of this jazz, Gyökeres is going to bring them goals. He is. They've been missing that. They done been missing that with Kai Havertz up front, bro. And he done been missing chances. But I still wonder, right, when you look at Man City squad and you look at Liverpool's squad, I honestly think to win the league this season, and I might be wrong, I genuinely think you're going to need more than 1 outlet of consistent goal scoring. And not just 2. I mean 3 or 4. Liverpool and Man City are going to score goals for days this season. Whilst they might be a little bit shaky at the back at times, Arsenal, they say defenses win titles, but for me, this season, bam, you're going to have 4 attackers scoring frequently. And for me, Arsenal don't have that. I don't know if Gyökeres fits into their system as well as Arsenal fans would like him to. I do just fear that, Madueke's not a consistent goal-scoring winger. Martinelli isn't. Trossard's all right. He's a great super sub. Bukayo Saka scores consistently, and Gyökeres should too. But, man, I'm just a little bit wary of that. It's going to be fine margins. It's going to be like 5 points covering 3 teams. I genuinely think this will be a 3-horse race title fight until the dying stages. But for me, I think Arsenal might just be a tiny bit short going forward right now. Which leaves us with the top 2. Who am I going to choose as the FNG annual wins the League of Content Creators Wants League of Creators Annual Award of the Year? I'm gonna cut to the chase, ladies and gentlemen, because this is a techie one. The team that I'm gonna predict to finish in 2nd place is Manchester City. Again, guys, this is gonna be so close. notes. The reason I've gone for Manchester City actually above Arsenal, which might kind of be surprising in itself. Manchester City have had a decent transfer window, probably not addressed as many quote-unquote issues as Arsenal. I don't think they have as many quote-unquote issues going into this season. Reinders, baller. I think in terms of intensity and just running back and forth, but with also ability to provide some energy, be able to deal with counters and transition play in that midfield, Reinders I think is good for that. Rodri is back. Will he be the same? I don't know. He will be back, I think, from October. He's had a fresh setback recently. But if it's even 80% of the Rodri from before, that's absolutely huge for Manchester City, especially combined with Reinders in the middle. Ryan Shirky is a baller. Doesn't really solve any issues, but, you know, great to freshen things up. A full season, of course, of Marmoush might really be a game changer. He really hit the ground running for Man City. And ultimately, they looked so much better after January. They spent a fucking shit ton of money, so you'd like to imagine that they would. But those players are still there. Gonzalez, probably depth now, realistically. Marmoush, baller. In my opinion, Kusanov's pretty good. And he's young, so he can grow into his role. They've got depth for days, as you would expect at Manchester City with the amount of money they spend.
Can't really use that line given what Liverpool have been doing recently.
But yeah, for me, I think Manchester City might just have a little bit more of the edge, given they've got key players back. They can, you know, actually kind of play to the system that Pep wants to and play to their strengths a little bit more, with Rodri holding things down from October onwards. But in fairness, if they look like the Man City of last season, the first 2 months, it might already be too far gone by the stage Rodri's back, which leaves first position, and I don't think this is much of a surprise, and it's very rare that I do this, but I'm predicting Liverpool to be your Premier League champions. You might call me biased, but I'm actually the eternal pessimist, and I'm assuming, and I'm basically basing the fact this is going to be close off the fact that I don't think we're actually going to sign Alexander Isak. If we sign Isak, it's a wrap, guys. We're winning the league by 15 points. We're winning the quadruple, bro. It's game over. But if we don't sign Isak, and, you know, the players that we have currently, I'm doing that for Arsenal, I'm doing that for Manchester City, so I'm sure those guys will still, you know, buy players. You know, Man City are even talking about signing Gianluigi Donnarumma now from PSG. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think he's the greatest ball-playing goalkeeper. Anyway, Liverpool, yeah, fam, this business is crazy, fam. We've found a whole BP garage a whole shell garage underneath Anfield right about now. Florian Wirtz, biggest signing of the window. Ekitike, second biggest signing of the window. The fact of the matter is, we have to win the league. Otherwise, it's been a failure. We won the league at a canter last season. We made it a bit closer by completely falling off a cliff and going on holiday for the final 5 games. Realistically, we were in control from like mid-March onwards. So to sign Wirtz for 120 mil, to sign Ekitike for 90, if we weren't to then go and win the league again, it would be pretty poor overall. So we kind of have to, you know, we've signed Kirkes, which is an upgrade at left back. Andrew Robertson, I love you, bro, but the signs were kind of there last season, I'm not going to lie. They might be at the very least time to get some competition, some healthy competition. If Robertson can make a comeback this season, great. If not, Kirkes is amazing. Frimpong, I have little question marks over. I think he's a baller, and I think he's a really nice guy, but defensively, there are going to be question marks. There's going to be a lot for Van Dijk and Konate to do. And I was worried about our centre-back depth going into this. That was the one thing I thought that might genuinely hurt us as far as actually winning the league was concerned. Because lads, at the moment, we've got 2 fit centre-backs, and it's Van Dijk and Konate's hamstrings are made of cheese. Joe Gomez already out, right? 3 centre-backs is not enough. But as of right now, we're attempting to sign Mark Gahey for 35 million and a kid from Italy. If we sign both of those, easily enough centre-back depth. And again, 70 more mil. Where are we getting these funds from? I know we managed to sell Fabio Borini for a bit, but I can't believe we're still actually using those transfer funds. The only other question mark for me is depth moving forwards, which I know sounds crazy. We've signed like 200 million pounds worth of attacking threat. Wirtz's creativity is going to be absolutely massive, and I think Ekitike is a baller, to be honest with you. I'd love to see him playing out on the left, low-key, because I think he's fucking sick, man. He's techie. I just wonder how good he's going to be when presented with one-on-one chances and stuff. Either way, we sold Luis Diaz, Darwin Núñez, and of course, tragically have lost Diogo Jota, which are going to be big hits to us depth-wise. I'm hoping Ben Doak and Rio Ungamoa may get an opportunity if we don't sign Isak, because I think both of those are ready to be backups in the Prem already. We've also sold Jarell Kwanzaa. If we sign Gahey, then I think that's an upgrade anyway. But the other one is, of course, Trent Alexander-Arnold, leaving to go to Real Madrid. We've replaced him positionally with Jeremy Frimpong, but some of his passing, yeah, crossing, incredible, but just outright ball playing and passing a vision is some of the best that the Prem had to offer. We are going to miss that. I just hope that with Wirtz's creativity, with the attacking threat of both Kirkes and Frimpong from wide areas, we can still create a lot of the chances that we were creating last season for Mo Salah and Ekitike and Gakpo to put away, even without Trent's directness. That's going to be the crucial thing. If we can't adapt to not having Trent, I think that's the one thing at this point that could genuinely derail us a little bit. Will we be strong enough at the back. For me, just about. And that's why I'm predicting us to win the league. But I genuinely think this title race could be one of the most exciting in years. Let me know what you think, of course, down in the comment section. But to find out, you better stick around. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, the content I've got coming for you this season is going to be incredible. I want to thank you guys so much for the support on the channel recently. It's been sick, I'm not going to lie to you. I had a lot of questions about the 750k video. I'm so sorry. It is genuinely coming. It's just hard to negotiate and organize YouTubers, generally speaking. I'm not going to lie to you. And I have been busy every day for about 3 weeks straight, which has not helped. I'm hoping in a couple of weeks, I'm going to be filming that, and then the week after, it'll be coming out. Do not worry. If you enjoyed this video, though, feel free to slap a like on it. As I mentioned, subscribe. 800k, I'm getting a Liverpool tattoo. You can also follow me on social media. It is at the official FNG on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. And don't abuse me too much in the comments section. Flipping me bomba.